Three people connected to the story we're discussing today have already been killed. One has narrowly escaped 16 shots after they were fired at his car, and some are due to be investigated after years of delays. Today, we unpack one of the most disturbing and far-reaching cases to come before South Africa's Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, the killing of Emmanuel Mbense.
For a long time, we lived with unanswered questions, not knowing how he died, what transpired exactly. And the truth only started to surface before the commission. It forced us to relive the horror of his final moments in public, surrounded by strangers. Receiving such devastating news at the same time with everyone else has been very painful. It has stripped away any chance of us to prepare ourselves emotionally, and we were re-traumatized as the details unfolded.
This is not a single crime. It is a chain of events. It begins with an unauthorized operation in Brakpan in April of 2022, which ended in a murder and concealment of a body. It moves through the killing of a whistleblower in March 2023. It surfaces again in sworn testimony before a judicial commission of inquiry, and this was in 2025. And it continues with assassinations and an attempted assassination of people linked to the truth. At the center of this story is Emmanuel Mbense, a man who was tortured, suffocated, and whose body was dumped in a body of water. Around his death are names that appear again and again in commission testimony. Those names are Julius Dr. Mkhwanazi, Yaku Hanekom, Wiandre Pretorius, Marius van der Merwe, better known as Witness D, as well as several other names. Two of those people have been shot and killed. One survived a 16-bullet attempted hit on his life. What follows is a chronological account drawn strictly from sworn testimony and evidence presented before the Madlanga Commission. So stick with me in this riveting episode of Daily Updates with Miss Media. Let's start where it all began, and that was on 15 April of 2022. We start with Emmanuel Mbense, a civilian who was suspected of involvement in a warehouse robbery. The group went to his home on that particular day. What followed was later described under oath as an unauthorized operation involving members of the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department, private security personnel, individuals who were not clearly identified, as well as some members of the SAPS.
The pin location provided by Kobus Jansen van Rensburg took me to Sally's village in Brakpan, where some SAPS, EMPD and private security members waited for us. Upon my arrival, I found Jaco Hanekom, a SAPS informer of ill repute, Wiandre Pretorius, a person that frequently presents himself as a SAPS member, Constable John Marie Exteen from North East Rand Flying Squad, Constable Zander Fritz, Reservist Constable from SAPS Brakpan, with two SAPS Brakpan officers unknown to me. Present were also EMPD officers Kershaw Lee Stolz, Aiden McKenzie, Etienne van der Walt from Titan Security, and other members whom I cannot identify.
According to sworn testimony given before the commission, Mbense was questioned inside the house. Witness D, later identified as Marius van der Merwe, testified that Mbense admitted involvement in the robbery but claimed that his role was limited to transporting the stolen goods. At some point during questioning, Mbense allegedly mentioned that there was 500,000 rand in cash inside the house, an offer described as an attempted bribe to avoid harm. After the cash was mentioned, it seems like the situation escalated, according to Witness D.
The unknown male, when questioned, admitted that he was involved in the invasion and the robbery of the warehouse. He claimed, however, that all he did was transport of the stolen property. The suspect further requested that we not hurt him, as he had 500,000 rand in the house in cash, which he tried to bribe us with, or the officers with. After the suspect mentioned the cash, the two unknown members from Brakpan SAPS and Wiandre Pretorius then pushed the man into the second bedroom and closed the door behind them. Everyone else, including myself, searched the rest of the house. In the main bedroom, the EMPD officers, unknown to me, found case dockets where the suspect is identified as a suspect in the particular crime or is otherwise mentioned. Some SAPS forensic bags, as well as a number of live ammunition rounds, was found. The other rooms contained various tools or garden tools or welding equipment. I then went into the bedroom where the suspect had been taken to by the Brakpan SAPS members with Leandre Pretorius.
According to witness D, Leandre Pretorius was also present at the house and took part in torturing Mbense. Witness D says that after the money was mentioned, Mbense was pushed into another bedroom by Pretorius and the door was closed to separate him from the rest of the crew. And he says that the torture included using a plastic bag placed over Mbense's head. He said this is called tubing and it's a method used to restrict breathing and it's used to force victims to speak about whatever it is that the investigators or the torturers want them to reveal.
I noticed Leandre Pretorius, the suspect, with a plastic bag with the two SAPS Brakpan members assisting him from the right-hand side of the double bed. Tubing is where a plastic bag gets placed over a person's head, and that person gets suffocated to the point that he talks or cannot breathe, no longer breathe, and then obviously that we will, or they would obviously then ask him to talk to us, obviously to avoid this from taking place again. I entered the room and sat next to the suspect on the left-hand side of the bed. When Leandre stopped, I asked the suspect to tell me where the stolen stock was being kept. The suspect replied that he will show us. I picked up a wooden table leg that was broken from inside the room, held his legs down with it as to not touch him with my hands as he was wet. Leandre then continued tubing in with the one unknown Brapan SAPS member, helping to hold him down, while the other was searching the drawers, etc. I got up and left the room. The other people were still searching the room. It was quite clear, or the house, my apologies, commissioners. It was quite clear at this stage that the stock from Uwera's robbery was not in the house.
Witness D testified that Pretorius actively participated in this process. Witness D says while Mbense was being interrogated inside the bedroom, others searched the house. He says during this search, it became apparent that no stolen stock was in the house. Witness D testified that an EMPD officer was seen carrying a bucket of water and walking towards the bedroom where Mbense was being tortured. He also says 2 unidentified private security members left the house hurriedly. One of them carried a sports bag. Shortly afterwards, Pretorius exited the bedroom. Witness D testified that he asked Pretorius whether Mbense had spoken.
I exited the house. I was joined outside in the garden next to the truck by Kobus and the others. Shortly after this, Leandre and Kershaw Lee joined us. I asked whether a suspect talked, and Leandre responded that he will never ever talk again.
That statement would later take on a chilling significance. Witness D testified that Pretorius said he would phone a senior general to fix this. The senior officer allegedly contacted was Julius Dr. Mkhwanazi, then acting head of Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department. Pretorius allegedly told Witness D that if anyone talks, he would go to prison for killing them. After this, Witness D says Julius Mkhwanazi did arrive and there was a discussion with Julius Mkhwanazi and several other people. He says that Mkhwanazi allegedly instructed that the body be dumped in a mine shaft or a dam.
Chief Soup Julius Mkhwanazi, JD Mkhwanazi, arrived at the scene and we were informed that this is the chief in a dark tracksuit of some sort.
At this time, apologies Witness D, at this time, did you know who Chief Superintendent Julius Mkhwanazi was?
It was my first time seeing him that evening, and then it was obviously when Yaku indicated to us that this is Mkhwanazi, Chief Sup Mkhwanazi.
Did you know what unit or institution he's aligned to?
From the system, I understood that he was EMPD or Metro Police.
Thank you. You may continue.
So Jaco Hanekom and Biandre addressed him as chief, and the Metro members, including Jaco, Kershaw, Etienne was with me at that stage. So the Metro members, they all had a meeting with the soup away from myself and Etienne. Shortly afterwards, they returned to where we were. JD Mkwanazi said that we needed to throw the suspect's body into a mine shaft or dump it into a dam. As he said this, he looked at me. Viandre then in turn informed me that I must take the body and dump it. They will show me where and that I should relax. Since my vehicle is marked, Viandre said it won't attract any attention. I was directed by Viandre at this stage where to park my bakkie next to the front door. That is as you come in from the main gate.
Witness D says that when Mkwanazi said this, he looked at him directly. He testified that it was made clear that Witness D himself was expected to dispose of the body. He told the commission that he felt forced, he felt outnumbered, and he felt afraid. He testified that Pretorius and another individual carried Mbense's body onto Witness D's vehicle so he could dump it. Mbense's body was later found in a dam near Germiston. At this point, no arrest followed immediately, no accountability, no public explanations.
And this has damaged our faith in the justice system, leaving us feeling neglected, overlooked, deeply discouraged to mention. And due to these delays, the overall failure of the justice system to take timely and decisive action against those who are responsible. The family has been left with no choice but to seek assistance from AfriForum's Private Prosecution Division to assist in the matter. The decision was not taken lightly. It reflects the sense of abandonment that we have experienced as a family in the very same institutions we have entrusted with seeking justice have failed to act on our behalf.
But another man connected to this unfolding story would soon expose alleged corruption and pay with his life, allegedly. That man is Yaku Hanekom. Now let's speak about who Yaku Hanekom was. He was a police informant and a whistleblower, but he's also allegedly been involved in some underhanded dealings, according to Witness D. Retired Deputy Chief Rivo Spies testified that Hanekom provided him with surveillance footage in August of 2022. The footage showed EMPD officers conducting an unlawful copper cable confiscation in Meyerton. Meyerton is outside EMPD jurisdiction. Metro Police had no authority to conduct such an operation without SAPS presence.
It's already.
Now.
Okay.
That's the Etienne person, the civilian, climbing out of the passenger.
They just say that's an unmarked EMPD car
So
that is coming out
both
of.
vehicles is unmarked EMPD vehicles, and that civilian is the one that they will refer to as Etienne the whole time.
If we may pause. Can you identify the person on the screen now?
That's also one of our officers dressed in a golf shirt, but with our cap, EMPD cap, and then the EMPD pants and a rifle and everything. I also don't know his name, but the officers know him, that he's from Specialized Services.
Dan, en nou kyk. Al klim Etienne uit die kar uit. Hoe lank het jy al daar gestaan nou?
'n Paar minute. There they speak to the passenger in the back of the car. So Kershaw went to the passenger door at the back and she opened it, and the driver in the orange shirt, he climbed out and opened the door for her. And now Kershaw is speaking to the person in the back of the car, which when he climbs out, we can immediately recognize him, but it's Brigadier Mkwanazi.
Now, the driver in the orange top that you just referenced.
He's also a member.
Also a member of the MPD, thank you.
So hulle was 3 in hierdie kar.
So the person that now climbed, you can see from the head and the side profile that we know him it's Brigadier Mkwanazi.
Okay.
Daar was 2 maniere dat jy maar die hele tyd dat jy bly staan.
2, so hulle was 4 in my kar. Hy loop daar, loop 2 daar na die warehouse se kant toe.
Spies forwarded the footage to IPID in March of 2023, but Hanekom was murdered on 17 March 2023. During testimony, it was confirmed that Hanekom was killed on the same day that officers who were implicated in his surveillance footage were given bail. The copper theft case was not progressed to prosecution. The death of Hanekom was said to be a failed hijacking, but Spies testified that he believed it was a hit. But what do you think? Do you think Spies is right? Or do you think it's a coincidence that Hanekom was killed on the same day that those officers that he implicated were given bail? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments section. And do remember to subscribe to the channel. Also remember to hit that notification bell so that you know when I go live or when I post a video. Now, let's move on to a few months later. In July 2025, President Ramaphosa established the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry as well as Parliament's ad hoc committee into political interference. One of the most explosive testimonies at the Madlanga Commission came from Witness D. He was a private security operator and he was present during the Brakpan operation when Mbense was killed.
Commissioners, the witness we are about to present, whose statement serves before you and you've had opportunity to consider, intends to testify on a matter, a specific matter, that Commissioner Rivo Spies highlighted in the table under his paragraph 33, when he dealt with the matters outstanding with IPID involving members of the EMPD. This witness will be presenting today, will be speaking to one of those matters. Commissioners, we submit, as you can tell from the nature of the testimony as set out in his statement, that this is very sensitive information. And we have considered, and he would prefer as well, that his image not be published, his name as well not be published. And under the circumstances, we apply to the Commission to permit him to testify by way of partial in-camera, meaning he shall testify remotely into the room. His name will not be mentioned, nor any other detail that could identify him, and he will not be present in the room. In the circumstances, based on the nature and sensitivity of the evidence he's about to adduce, we apply that his evidence be heard by way of partial in-camera format in the manner that I have described. Thank you, Chair.
He gave sworn testimony detailing the torture of Mbense, the role of Pretorius, the alleged involvement of senior officers, and the disposal of Mbense's body, which he says he did himself.
I followed Mackenzie all the way to Spaarwater Pan, just outside Nigel, where Mackenzie instructed me to dump the body of the suspect. I did as instructed and placed the deceased body's legs first into the water and let the rest of the body rest on the banks of the dam. I got back into my vehicle and drove towards the R23. At the R23 and R550 intersection, I received a call from a number I did not recognize. When I answered the call, I realized it was Constable XTN phoning me. She asked me if it's done, to which I replied yes. She said that I will see them on my way home.
He also mentioned the late Yaku Hanekom being present during later discussions surrounding cover-ups. Now let's move on to Julius Mkwanazi and how he connects to all of this. Multiple witnesses, including Rivers Peace, implicated Julius Mkhwanazi in authorizing irregular operations, interfering in disciplinary processes, being linked to cover-ups, blocking suspensions, as well as allowing rogue units to operate. IPID linked EMPD units under his command to murder, kidnapping, theft, extortion, and precious stones theft worth 45 million rands. Julius Mkhwanazi has denied all of these allegations, saying that he has done no wrong. But just 3 weeks after Witness D's testimony on 5 December 2025, Witness D was ambushed outside his home in Brakpan. He was shot and killed.
Now, this is our breaking news story. Witness D, who testified at the Madlanga Commission in November and implicated suspended EMPD Deputy Commissioner Julius Mkhwanazi, has been killed.
It's a somber end to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry as we had to move from Tshwane to Brakpan, which is in Ekurhuleni, at the heart of the testimony this week. We understand that Witness D is the person who is now the victim of tonight's shooting at their gate. Details are sketchy. Athlenda Mate, police spokesperson, is on her way with the Deputy Provincial Commissioner as they make their way here to also give us a little bit more information. But what we understand is that the deceased is Witness D.
He was shot with an AK-47 type weapon in front of his wife and children. Despite being a key witness, he had declined formal protection. A vehicle linked to the attackers was later found abandoned. But Witness D as well will never talk again, because that shooting was the last day he took his breath.
The memorial service of Marius van der Merwe, who testified as Witness D before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, as you can see there now, the coffin being brought into the venue, a very somber moment for family and friends, as well as ordinary citizens in society gathered there to bid farewell to the man who was referred to as Witness D, at least for many of us, but his real name being Marius van der Merwe.
Then we move on to this week, February 5, 2026. Weandre Pretorius was shot at 16 times in Boksburg. He survived.
Well, Weandre Pretorius survived the hail of bullets as he parked his car right here behind me. Pretorius can be heard in this clip sending out a distress message.
Guys, number 13 Klapper Street van Dyke Park. Please come and assist me here. 13 Klapper Street van Dyke Park. They shot my bakkie. I don't know if it's a hit or something. They shot my bakkie. I managed to get out.
I just saw the two cars following him. One was a white car and the second one was a red car. But on the footage you do see fire shots, like the muzzle flash, or I don't know what you call it, that you see flashes. Yeah, but that's all, you know, it's very shocking that a person has something like this happening in your area. Now you think Van Dyke Park is a very safe area, but it's very shocking.
Pretorius had been named by Witness D and was implicated in Mbense's death and is alleged to have presented himself as a police officer. Police have confirmed that Pretorius is not an officer. The motive for that shooting is unknown. But from sworn testimony alone, Witness D directly links Weandre Pretorius to the suffocation of Emmanuel Mbense, to statements indicating Mbense had died, to threats aimed at silencing witnesses and instructions to dispose of a body. These remain allegations, not findings. So far, what we know is that at least 2 people who were present during Emmanuel Mbense's torture have been shot and killed. One has escaped a 16-bullet hit, and others are to be investigated. IPID says they've already sent their report on this matter to the NPA for prosecution. So what do you think? Is it a coincidence that people involved in this situation have been killed? Or is there something deeper going on? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments section, and do remember to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to hit that notification bell so that you know when I go live or when I load a video. Now, if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to share it with as many people as you can. But for today, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.